First of all, thank you for the invitation. Thank you, Andrew, for having me here. I am so proud to be here. I actually arrived this morning, so apologies for being late and for maybe some confusion as I am kind of tired here. So for those of you who have not heard about GDM before, GDM is a global genetics company. We are better known by our flagship brand, Don Mario. We were born in a small town in Argentina called Chacabuco more than 40 years ago. And right now, almost half of the soybean planted around the globe is of our genetics. As you can see in the timeline, we have expanded our footprint globally. We are in more than 25 countries right now. We arrived at South Africa in 2005, and since then we have been partnering with local companies to offer our elite soybean genetics to the South African farmers. Also, as part of our global diversification strategy and leveraging on our experience in soybean, in the recent years we incorporated wheat breeding programs. We have one of South America's largest red hard wheat breeding programs. And more recently, we incorporated corn germplasm, both tropical and template corn germplasm. Earlier this year, we closed the purchase of KWS corn business in South America, and thereby thus has enabled us to become an integrated genetics provider in almost every single row crop, from soybean, wheat, corn, and even sunflower. So, you know that us Argentines are very proud people, and I'm gonna pride about this. We are the world's third largest food exporter. According to the UN, we are in a privileged position to take advantage of that. As for the upcoming years, the global demand for food and for, let's say, substitutes of fossil fuel byproducts is expected to grow. And that is a great news for us, but that definitely puts us a challenge, one that has a big hurdle, which is our intellectual property system. We have a deficient IP protection and enforcement system, and you may wonder, how does this relate to the subject matter of this conversation? Just to give you an idea, in soybean and wheat, which are the largest row crops in Argentina, only 30 out of 100 hectares recognize IP. In other words, pay something to the breeder, to the developer of that variety, whether it be through the purchase of certified seed or through some kind of consideration for farm-safe seed. Maybe this is a little bit abstract, but to put figures a little bit more clear, if we take the 3 largest soybean producers of the world, you can see there that we have by far the lowest average yield, and that has a perfect correlation with our investment per hectare. We have a relation of 3-to-1 against Brazil and 7-to-1 against the US. And as you can see there, on the biotech traits offer, namely the biotech commercial traits that are available to farmers, we only have 3. We used to have 4. A large company, Bayer, let's say, departed from the soybean business some years ago, Brazil has 5, the US has 7, and both Brazil and the US have upcoming technologies, whilst we do not have anything in the short term, right? So you may wonder what IP is then, and what is the importance of IP. Intellectual property is the most efficient mechanism that we know to incentivize innovation. An alternative would be governmental subsidies, but that has been proven to be, let's say, insufficient to say the least. IP grants the creators exclusive rights over their intangible creations, thus encouraging investment in their further research and development. And to bring this to a more, let's say, mundane aspect, I can show you that IP is everywhere, even in sports. I can give you some examples over here. The stadium designs are patented. There is a large Spanish company that has a patent over retractable turf systems that allows the conversion of stadiums thought for sports into venues for concerts, for example. The fabric of the jerseys, they are covered by patents as well. The logos on the jerseys of our favorite teams, even the logo of the Springboks is covered by trademarks. The grass varieties used in stadiums, built for high wear, for instance, from scrums or malls, they are covered by plant variety rights. Even the live broadcasts from our games and the likeness of our players are covered by copyrights. And the purpose of these, all these rights, is to, let's say, give away the proper incentives for further creation, right? And since you are, because you're here, I believe that you are into innovation, and because I am in South Africa, I take for granted that you are into rugby, one of my favorite sports. And congratulations on all your championships recently. And if we need to think about what innovation looks like in the field, in my opinion, that is the scrum half and the fly half. They are the players that, in my view at least, they bring all their brightness, and they are those players who lift their heads and see the play before anyone else. They are the so-called innovators in the field. And they set the rhythm, they create space, and they are those who read the field. Just for you to know, these pictures are of myself. This was a rugby tour years ago here in South Africa, playing against Westerford. So, just like in innovation, these players need rules, need fair rules to unleash their potential. So, in my view, that is what intellectual property is about. It's a system conveying the proper incentives for innovators to continue creating, right? And to protect them from cheaters, let's say, or from free riding, right? This is, let's say, this is the summary, right? And the important thing is that IP is not just about rewarding, let's say, the player who made the pass or who made the proper play. It's also about building a system where innovation can actually play, right? Where it can render results and create long-term incentives for better ideas to turn into new creations. So, farm-safe seed definitely poses a challenge to this system. in self-pollinating crops, such as barley, soybean, and wheat. Why so? I think it is very easy to understand, but let's say that developing a new variety may take between 4 to 10 years. If the developers can only receive a consideration for the first sale of their certified seed, then the system is definitely unfair. And like I say there, it's like telling the Scrum half that no matter what he does, his passes will always be a forward pass, right? He will always be in some kind of disadvantage. And this has been addressed globally through various mechanisms. Some countries protect their varieties through patents. An example of that is the US, where a farm-safe seed or even the breeder's exception is almost inexistent. Other countries have mixed mechanisms that nevertheless seek the same purpose, right? To ensure that innovators are compensated and that they have the incentives for continue creating. Some countries adopt contract-based mechanisms for royalty collection based on the volume of farm-safe seed replanted. Other countries do that, taking not the seed but the hectares actually planted. Examples of that are in the EU. Argentina has a system like that. Brazil has a mixed system that also has an endpoint royalty, but is associated with the identification of specific biotech traits. And here, I believe that South Africa has a homegrown solution, a homegrown mechanism that should be a matter of pride for you. Andrew has already explained how the BTL works, so I believe you all understand it even better than I do, so I will not go deeper into that. But I want to give you my view as to why I think, or we think, that this system is useful and why it works. First of all, and this is something that I did not include in the slide, but I believe that is the most important piece, is the general consensus that this system has generated amid the different stakeholders. The BTL has been renovated for several crops on several occasions, and that, in my opinion, shows that the consensus still lives amongst the different stakeholders. And from a more practical standpoint, I believe that this system is very simple. It's straightforward. It does not have any, let's say, important transaction costs. There is a very straightforward mechanism. It is self-regulated collection. It is fair as it distributes the risks with producers. There are lower levies if the crops fail. And it definitely avoids free riding thanks to its self-regulated collection and for being so straightforward. And one key item that I do believe is worth mentioning is that it is a system that it still rewards innovation, as the market share depends on the sales of certified seeds for previous years. And using a rugby metaphor again, like I say there, if you want to stay in the starting 15, you need to perform. So if you want to continue collecting thanks to the BTL levy, you need companies must continue to invest into new varieties and new genetics, right? And some lessons for South America from your system. I do not believe that the system could be extrapolated everywhere. I want to enforce the fact that the general consensus that you have here in South Africa is something that is not so common in the rest of the world. That is very valuable. But I do believe that some lessons to be learned are that this definitely levels the playing field for all stakeholders in the ag industry. It provides the proper incentives for continue developing new varieties. It gives seed multipliers and growers the let's say the mechanism for receiving new genetics every year or every years. And it is a system that, again, it has low transaction costs, low monitoring costs, and that avoids free riding. In other words, it avoids cheaters in the field. It is, again, I want to reinforce this. It is so straightforward, it is so simple that it is something that we can definitely learn from for South America and all other countries where at least GDM is doing business. And for GDM, how does this drive our business decisions? Well, to give you an idea, we have 33 commercial varieties in South Africa right now, 22 of which were launched after the BTL was implemented for soybean. Since then, we have, I mean, we were already here with our flagship brand, Don Mario, but since then we even brought new brands, and we are thinking about bringing new crops, and that is definitely because we see that the South African system, the South African market is giving away the proper incentives for companies like GDM to continue investing in the South African business. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Augusto, for that, for sharing with us your international perspective and how you see us from
Absolutely.
From your angle in South America, especially Argentina. My takeout is the word sustainability. If you can do the sustainability thing as SACTAs is doing, it looks like we're on the right track. I'll open up for questions. Anyone who would like to ask a question or make a comment, please, you are welcome. 2 mics are still roving around, still available. Andrew, you want to start? Yes?
Agustin, thank you very much for coming all this way to share that with us. I think, and I don't know if you can answer the question, my curiosity is around the costs of the system. So in South Africa, we think for every, from the gross levy that we collect, it's costing us about 5%. Do you have a sort of comparative number for other systems in the world that we could compare that against? And if that's a tough question, don't worry about it, but I'm just curious. Thank you.
No, it's a very important question, and it's a key question. I do not have the figures. I can tell you it is higher. But I can also tell you that the message that the industry conveys when the system is very complex is not a good one for stakeholders that are not, let's say, developers of new varieties. So regardless of the actual cost, I do believe that there is also an image that you are conveying with a very simple, straightforward system that is something that has a value of itself.
Any other question or comments about Levy system or any other aspect thereof? I thought there was someone at the back. There's no one? To ask a question? Oh, yeah. Here in front.
Maybe just a question to Agustin. What has been South America, or specifically Argentina's lessons that they have learned by not having a levy system like SACTA does? How did that reflect on seed coming to Argentina specifically, your breeding programs, etc.?
Well, the reasons underlying why we were unable to have a system like this has very much to do with the high tariffs that our ag products have. Soybean, for instance, has a 22% tariff on exports. Corn is close to that. Wheat is close to that. So that disencourages the general consensus, at least from the farmers' side, who see any levy or any consideration for recognizing IP as another air quote tax. We have a hard time trying to convey the opposite, that it is not a tax, that is private, it may be a private agreement, and that it is something that serves for the sustainability of breeding programs. And regarding the consequences of having a deficient IP system, I can tell you that well, Bayer has left Argentina on the soybean business. That's an example of it. We have seen several soybean breeding programs closing during the last years. And I can tell you that the largest ones are either ours or very small startups which are unable to get their products into the market on, let's say, important figures. And there's a governmental agency which does a lot of research and development, but which products, I mean, do not have let's say, a high market penetration. So in a nutshell, I would say that the consequences of such a system is that breeding programs in Argentina have closed, and that there are few new ones being open, at least in these very important crops for our economy.
Yeah. Any other question? Maybe if I may ask,
Yes.
Maybe it's the last question if there's no one else wanted to ask a question. Is there something perhaps that one can learn from other areas of the globe, globally, around the rules system of protection of IP development? Is there something that we should be wary, new developments that are happening, that should be looking at?
Do you mean like IP collection-wise,
Yes,
or
yes.
in general?
Yes, IP collection and protection systems, because you emphasize the importance of the rules around
Yes.
IP. So are there other developments around the world that perhaps one should look at?
Well, earlier we were discussing about gene editing and how NBTs would be regulated. I would say that how NBTs would be protected is also an important issue. The European Union is saying that they will not grant any patents for gene-edited traits. And that is something, that is a trend that I fear may be followed in other countries, and which, in my opinion, would de-incentivize further innovation into gene-editing traits, which I believe it is the common view of everyone that is the future.
Yeah. All right. So the old GMO and natural thing still goes on. The tension, it never ends.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? Anyone else who wants to raise a question? Or else we close this session? All right. No one. Thank you so much, Agustin, for coming. Come this way. Come this way. Thank you very much for the presentation. And you can move that direction.